What's up, my friend? Welcome to the Finding Direction podcast. My name is Stu Massengill, and I'm here every single week to bring you a passionate guest or message dedicated to helping you find your purpose so that you can live a life full of passion, fulfillment, and happiness. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for hanging out with me, and let's dive in. Welcome back, my friend, to another episode here on Finding Direction. I am so happy and so excited for you to dive into this week's episode. I'm sitting down with a new friend of mine. His name is Yager, and to say that this man is a wealth and depth of knowledge is a massive, massive understatement. To give you a little bit of background on AJ helps people move out of their patterns of suppression and into their patterns of connection. He will help you remove the limiting blocks and negative programming from the past and install new successful behaviors so that you can achieve exactly what you want, perform better, be in integrity with yourself, and show up as your very best every single day of your life. AJ is a trained and certified NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, for over 10 years, and he's a certified hypnotherapist for over 8 years. And he walks and talks the life that he preaches as well, as he has formed and created 8 companies himself as an entrepreneur, and he currently still runs 3 of those companies today. He is a leading expert in mindful and emotional optimization for high performers. His untraditional approach to coaching, it really allows him to capitalize on the power of hypnotherapy and NLP to eliminate neglect, break through plateaus, achieve rapid growth, and unlock deeper levels of happiness and fulfillment, allowing his clients to operate in a state of peak performance every single day. On top of that, he is an Amazon best-selling author, a co-founder of Praxic Metrics. He's the host of Data Rich podcast and also consults with large brands to turn their data into growth. So, as you can see, AJ has quite the resume. On this episode, a few of the things that we dive into is how you can start using the power of your unconscious to rapidly speed up the success and the progress that you're having in life. We talk about how can you start to use hypnotherapy to really create, and create being the key word, a life that you love. And we talk about how do you design a life around the lifestyle that you want. There is so much value in this one. I am going to guess that this is an episode you'll want to dive through and replay 2, 3, 4 times. If you are not already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can hang out with us every single week. And if you enjoy this episode, or if you're enjoying this show, leave us a review so we can know what you like, what you want more of, and ultimately how we can make this show better for you every single week. All right, my friend, without further ado, here we go. AJ Yager, welcome to the show, man. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. Thank you so much for being here.
Me too. I'm excited about it. It has been great getting to know you better. So let's just dig in, man.
Yeah, I love it. So as we kick this thing off, I'd love it if you could give our listener kind of a little bit of inside look as far as, who's AJ Yager and kind of, long story short, how'd you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, that's such a big question, right? The condensing of that is the fun part. Well, thank you so much again for having me on. I love to share my story, and I think there's some really big pieces of my story that actually make it really unique in what got me here. And one of those is that, like, I've always been a curious kid at heart, like innocent, curious kid with a heart full of love and like joy. That's just like my arsenal is like love and joy. It's always been that. I've always been that since I was a little bright-haired, redheaded kid growing up.
So cool.
But one of the biggest things that changed my life, influenced my life, was my grandfather on my mom's side of the family. His name was Pop-Pop. I called him Pop-Pop. I couldn't say anything else. It's called Pop-Pop, and then his wife was Mimi. So nice. I had an amazing family. My mom and dad were still together, still married until my dad passed. And the big part here is this. I was I was in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. I was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, I don't remember exactly what age, but we were over at my grandparents' house. And I remember going into my grandfather's like beautiful library. He had one of those rooms that was like floor to ceiling, like mahogany wood.
So cool.
so many books, like the whole thing is like full, right? And so I probably got bored doing something. I walked in and my grandfather was in there, like in his office, like, I don't know, dusting his shelves, reorganizing stuff like that. And I'm just being that curious kid, kind of walking around,
Yeah.
looking and grabbing books too. And he noticed I'm there, and, he's such a loving grandfather.
Yeah.
I said, Pop, what do you do with all these books? What, what do you do? And he's
Good
just like,
question.
okay. So he starts kind of pulling out, like, and I was like, not just what are all these books for, but like, why are some of these the same? Why are these bigger? Why are these smaller? Like, looking at
Yeah.
encyclopedia sets and all that. This is curiosity. So quickly, he just grabbed a bunch of books, sat down with me. And this is like pre 10 years old, right? Like, focus of a
Yeah.
child is very, very small. But I want you to imagine something: a child full of curiosity combined with a grandfather full of wisdom sat down with books, and he was just sitting here teaching me the different types of books, their different purposes, reading clips from them, from his favorite
Huh.
ones. He had Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow
Yeah.
Rich. He had stuff from Tony Robbins. He had the encyclopedias. He had old Westerns that he loved to read. And we were just sitting there for like 2.5 hours exploring and having this
Dang.
one-on-one connection. Now, fast forward a few weeks. And I was a young kid who loved to push buttons and like tinker with Legos and all those things. Well, I wanted to get myself a stereo, a really cool stereo system with like, I had this Crutchfield magazine, I remember, and I like circled the stereo that I wanted. So I know that if I went to my mom and dad, they'd put me to work. I didn't want to go do work, but I could put some childhood persuasion to work on my grandfather and my grandmother. Cool, this is easy. Go to Pop-Up, I'll get the stereo. I went to him, showed him the magazine, showed him all the benefits, all the things I wanted.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there looking at me, and in his mind, I didn't know this at the time, but in his mind, he went back to that moment where he and I were in the library, like looking at all these books.
Yeah.
And he had this idea. And he goes, okay, I'll buy you this stereo if you'll work on a program with me. And all I heard was, I'll get you a stereo.
Yeah.
And what he created in his mind was brilliant. He said, if you listen to an audio tape, read a book, or watch a video on the things that are in my library that we agree on, and you write down a sentence, a few paragraphs on what you learned that day, and then we review it at the end of each week. If we do that together for a year, I'll buy you that stereo or one better. Brilliant. What he did was took a young child with a goal and said, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to enable you. But he said, I'm going to make you work for it and reward you. But it is about self-development, reading, taking the time, discipline. Look at all those things that he gave me the gift of in that instant. And that started that was the start of my like self-development program as a young boy. This is all outside of school, outside of soccer, outside of sports. This is something I had to do every single day. So then we moved, and I was like, on the other side of the world. We were in Delaware at the time, but we moved to California. So this is all over the phone that we do this. My mom and dad would remind me, hey, did you do your 30 to 45 minutes a day? Like that kind of thing. So 35 to 40 minutes a day, reading, learning, writing down what I wanted. And then at the end of the week, Pop-Up and I on Friday or Saturday would like powwow and talk about it. He became my mentor. He was the ultimate mentor, and he was always a few steps ahead of me. So once it started, he was always giving me new books and programs to go do. Nightingale Conan was one of his favorite companies because they would ship him all these amazing books. So that's a big influence in my life. And that started me out as an entrepreneur when I was 10 years old. I've never had a job. I've literally started businesses since I learned, you don't have to go work at McDonald's. I can literally start businesses. So I did AJ's Odd Job Service. Then I started, which was basically doing chores around other people's homes. But it was fine. I was charging like $8 an hour at that time. I just didn't know what to charge. I just did it. They gave it to me. So then I got into technology and computers and learning about how to build computers and stuff. So it's like what started off my entrepreneurial career and taught me so much about life. So that's like one big story that I love to tell. That's like super unique.
Yeah. And what a blessing too. Like your grandpa, it's like so interesting. You could say, go get this job you're 10, so you probably couldn't really have gotten a job. But it could have been, go do chores for a year. You'll save up enough money, and then you could buy the money with that stereo. But he was teaching you in the sense of like, if you grow this knowledge, this is going to give you 10 times more than what you'd need to buy this stereo, right? Yeah. Especially over the longevity of your life.
It was the greatest gift he couldn't have given me. Like, just the
what
ability to do that. What a great grandfather. He's an amazing man. And I know he can hear me up there. He's been passed away about 10 years, but man, that was huge. And that expanded and grew into every business. And the word Kaizen is the daily self-improvement, just getting a little bit better every single day, not having to just change everything cold turkey, but just micro adjustments that start to stack up and compound. And that's just been one of the biggest lessons in my life. And that's how I've achieved a level of success in my life, was to apply that at everything I did. Always learn, always grow, never think you've figured stuff out, always feeling like you're the white belt when you could even be the black belt, but like continuously learning and being humble and literally having fun and letting life happen, and being a clean vessel for like life to come to you and surrendering to that. And while at the same time being driven and business minded and sticking up for yourself and like speaking your word. Like I had to learn those things. I've always been a nice guy, and I've had mistakes of when I've been let people walk over me, and I had to learn those hard ways from failures in businesses and contracts and things like that. So it's all huge learning, and we can go lots of different directions there, but I thought that was a cool one to start it off with.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And it's, obviously, getting to know you for, I think we met originally a month and a half, 2 months ago, and now taking kind of a deep dive into your life. It's interesting hearing some of those things. And, you throw the word humble in there, right? When it's like, you say this thing about your grandpa, but then it's like, you go and you start this technology company, and then you have your magazine company. And now you're doing stuff with Prixel and a lot of, deep dive in data. And all of these have been tremendously successful, would be an understatement, I guess we could say. And then while you're doing that, all this coaching stuff you do as well with hypnotherapy, and you have, and for someone that is not seeing you physically, you're not 60 years old. You know what I mean? You're still in the youth of your life. So you squeezed in so much, you've lived so much life, I guess we could just say. And I'm curious for you, like, what are some of the biggest lessons you think you've learned through all of this journey, that you've taken on, just as far as like living a good quality of life?
Wow, that's a great question. Living a good quality of life. I think that there's a lot of society, especially like in business and being an entrepreneur or having a career. I think that especially in the United States, structure, there's a lot of that hustle, hard work, get the mortgage, get the kids. Like there's this stereotypical thing we're supposed to do, this stuff that's supposed to happen. It's because everybody's doing it. And the biggest lesson, what I learned, is that it's all programming. It's like the Matrix movie. There's programming happening all the time. I don't mean that there's machines out there that are putting this in them. Maybe there are, but who knows? But it's about this programming. It's about this encoding, this coding that's actually happening since the time we are born. The biggest thing I learned was that, and the fact that we can recode ourselves, that we've got to learn about the three minds, these three structures. And one of them is the self-conscious, then the unconscious, and then the superconscious. Now I'll get into a little bit more detail about what those are, but like self-conscious is in beta. It's our everyday, you and me discussing, we're live, we're conscious, talking about things. And this is where fears can come in. This is where the stuff comes in, the fear, the anxieties, the self-consciousness, like self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, things like that exist. It's a very high brainwave, but it's very frantic, and it's very like where we make decisions and all that. And most people live in that world. We're taught to live in that world. We're not taught how to use our mind, use our heart, use our soul, and use this whole system we're given. And so, because when the time we're born, we're brought into this world, and we're literally programmed by parents, grandparents, experiences, movies, TV, music, social media, all the input that's going on. And unless, parents do the best that they can, this is not blaming the parents in any one way. It's just the experience we have starts to create these programs, these, let's just say, software programs that start to run in the background. And these things happen to us. And what happens is, in life, we get these feelings, we get these things, experiences that are hard feelings, not necessarily love and light and joy and all that, but like anger, sadness, betrayal, things like, abandonment. Things happen in our life, and we're like, it hits here. You're like, oh, I do not like that. Nope. I don't want to feel that. And we push it away. We push it down, and it gets stuck in our body. We're not taught how to have an emotional IQ, how to work with emotions, how to let them flow through our bodies and have that experience. we're taught that we are our emotions, and that's not true. You and I, we are not our issues or the things that are going on. It's not personality flaws. These are simply unconscious programs that are stuck in here because we weren't taught how to process them. But as we grow and age and continue through life, they're still there if we don't take time to release them.
Yeah.
So that realization of everything's programming, everything's being coded as you're growing up. Second, emotions coming through are very, very important. All we have is our thoughts and emotions. Those are the tools. When you're talking about the inside person, that's what we have to work with. And we aren't, because we're not taught it, then that stuff stacks up and stacks up. And then as the world is coming in, we are literally living our life by a certain preference. Oh, I don't like that person because, this thing happened to me in the past, but I don't like this person because of that. It's like, that's external. That person has literally nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
But you're like judging it or these things. So like we have this preferences to the world, the way the world should show up. And if it's not that way, we don't like it and we run the other way, or we fight or flight or whatever. And so that can affect our decision-making ability. It can affect what we do, the love life, the romanticism, all these different ways. We have these stuck energies, programs, emotions that are guiding our life. And so the third thing then is, we can reprogram that. We can recode that. And we've got to learn about the unconscious mind as the next step. Self-conscious is fine. It's ego. It's there all the time.
Yeah.
Unconscious is, and I know I'm getting into brain stuff and like deeper stuff, but like this is the essence of what I do and what I work with my clients on, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, or race car drivers, or, fighters or artists, whatever. So the unconscious mind is here to keep us safe. Meaning it's one job is like, as soon as we wake up in the morning, it's like, job done. Yes, it's still alive. He's still alive. AJ is still alive. I've done my job.
Yeah.
It doesn't like change. Does not like to change. It knows what it knows, and it's safe and protected based on what's happened. So the unconscious mind, it's like you want to get in a nightclub, and the nightclub is the unconscious mind. The bouncer is like your conscious mind, that critical factor that doesn't want to let you in. And so one of the tools that I use is one of them is hypnosis. It's like me giving the bouncer $250 to slip in the back door so I can get into the nightclub, and then I can go work on things and do what I want.
Yeah.
But if we do it from the conscious mind, like, oh yeah, I know, I don't have any anxiety. No, I don't feel that. Or, oh yeah, I've dealt with my fears. I'm good. That may or may not be true. And a lot of us are very aware. Right. And there's a different world in there. And you have to know how to navigate it and work with the unconscious mind and recode these things and free those emotions so that you're showing up as your authentic, pure self.
Yeah.
So with the recoding and the unconscious mind, then once you start figuring out how to let go of the energies and the emotions that are stuck, it's amazing how your life starts to turn out and how things get easier and how your ego and your unconscious mind aren't trying to do these patterns. The times where you say you want to go do things and it only lasts for a few weeks and then it falls back off, or you want to change something, you want to quit smoking, you want to do this and that, and it keeps coming back around. And you just bang your head against the wall. You're like, I don't understand. Why am I not hitting why am I not manifesting or getting the end results I want? It's because you're coded to not do those things, to not achieve those. Some people don't have the experiences you do, and they've hit a bunch of success. And they may not be happy, but maybe they're financially successful, but they don't have great relationships. And so it all depends on our backgrounds. There's no judgment at all of how it is. It's just how we're showing up in the world. So the biggest thing is the advice or the learnings I had was like understanding the unconscious mind. I took neurolinguistic programming when I was 18 years old. I learned more about the mind and emotions. Through my life, I kept taking trainings. My wife and I, like we've done trainings together to always be improving ourselves.
Yeah.
But then taking action on it. You can't just go to the seminar, read the book, and then not do anything about it. If you read a book, you go to a seminar, what are the action steps, or what's the one thing you're going to take from that you're going to start applying in your life now? It doesn't have to be all 52 action steps. It's like, what's one thing? It's simple. And change that, right? And building in new habits to your life. So hopefully those kind of three big things help answer your question.
Yeah. So if we look at kind of what you said, so one thing that I think is interesting, right? It's like our whole life is a program, right? We've been programmed, and most of the time we've been programmed, not we've programmed ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of what you're saying is there's these programs that are almost unconscious, and a lot of them are like emotional blocks, things that happen to us that we hold on. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's like if you had a water line, like there's there's stuff that's blocking the water from really being able to flow. And when you release those things, it's all of a sudden you get this flow that's can create a beautiful life for yourself. So you may not have an answer that would cover this in the short amount of time we have today, but what is like something someone could do if, if our listeners listen to this, they're going, crap, like I may have some things that happen to me that are stuck and clogging up this flow. I may have some patterns that aren't the best ones. And, I may have some programs that aren't the best ones. Like, is there anything someone can do to at least start the process of like releasing some of these like blockages, whether they're programs, whether they're emotions? Like, I know, you take a deep dive with your clients, but is there anything someone listening to this could do, maybe today to start releasing some of these things?
Totally. I'd love to get to that. And it's another great analogy is a river. It's like the river of your life, right? That's just flowing. And you've been on a white water rafting or down the river, and like there's these big boulders. Just imagining so many of them stacking up that the water just kind of trickling. It finds its way through, but it's trickling, right?
Right.
So as soon as you chip away or remove or smooth out those surfaces so the water can flow again, everything starts to flow. Life gets so much more beautiful and easier and light and love. It's really beautiful. So I love that you said that. So how do you do that? I want to use another kind of example. One thing I talk with my clients a lot is, and I'll start with this, like hot air balloon. Have you ever been up in a hot air balloon?
I have not yet.
But simple concept, right? They come in the morning. We did this in Africa a number of times. I've done it a bunch of times where they come out with a big wicker basket. They put it on the ground, they put the tethers down, they lay down the big balloons, and then they get these huge fans out to start blowing air so that it starts to open up enough to put the propane or the fire thing,
right,
whatever's going, to start heating up. And then it, over time, I think it's half an hour, 45 minutes, like finally filling up to where it's ready to go. So this is the vessel that's going to take you towards your dreams, your goals. Like, I've got my 90-day plan. I'm going to go here. Here's my dreams, my new vision. We're coming up to the new year. People think about, what's going to be in 2023? What's going to happen? So you're ready. And all of a sudden you pile in, you're like, okay, let's go this way towards our dreams. And you start pulling the string and it's heating it up. You're like, we're going to get ready to go. And it doesn't go anywhere. Why? Why doesn't it go anywhere?
It's probably tied down.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people miss this step. A lot of people are talk about your visualize your future, really write everything down, like get super clear on that. That's wonderful advice. And the question is this: what do I need to let go of? What are the tethers? What are the strings? What are the things that are holding me back? What do I need to let go of in my past so that I can go where I want to go? So on those wicker baskets, there could be 6, 8, 10, 12 tethers holding it down. No matter how hard you want to go forward, you're coming from that same psyche, that same self, those same emotions in the now that's creating the future. So if you let go of those tethers one by one, self-sabotage, fear of failure, whatever those things may be, whatever those tethers are for each person, you got to let go of those. So then the question is that step one would be asking yourself right now, those listeners right now, writing down, if I could snap my fingers and let go of blank, what would those things be?
Yeah.
And part of this is about stepping into a new identity for yourself, stepping into this new version of you. Now, your personality doesn't have to change none of that stuff, but you want new end results. These are things that you want to create and manifest. Yeah. But also, like, what's this new identity look like? So first, what are the things, and literally writing them down on what do you want to let go? Anything at all. And just write them down. Take a few days, journal on them, do whatever you need to do and write those things down. The second one then is asking yourself, what are the new end results I want to create next year, in my future, whatever that may be, and writing down those end results. And every single day, even without hypnosis, without all of that, everybody can close their eyes and go internal. You can access your alpha state, even your theta state if you get more relaxed. Delta is asleep. That's where you're completely unconscious. We want to stay in alpha and theta in that area. Theta is going to help you recode things. Alpha is going to help you solve problems, but you're in a relaxed state. Closing your eyes, going internal after you've written these things down. I'm looking at, do one a day. Choose one thing you want to let go of that day and go into that emotion, that thing, whatever that tether is, and allow and trust yourself and go into that and say, like, why was I feeling that? What does this mean for me? And if I'm going to let this go, what does that look like? And also getting to most importantly, forgiveness for yourself, for having it, for having that experience, for blaming yourself, for whatever.
Yeah.
It may involve other people. So getting to forgiveness for others is one thing, but the biggest change is like, I'm going to forgive myself for that thing wholly, completely, with compassion, with love, and just do one that day, which then opens up room in your body. It's like a new void. And then you get to what? Install the new thing. I want to refill that with love, light, joy, excitement, adventure, abundance, wealth, whatever that is. So I like to have people kind of go through that very minimal process, but then when you're choosing that new end result, after you've cleared that thing away, that letting it go, sometimes you just need to pull, like literally physically sit there and pull that stuff out of you. Might look weird if you're at the park doing it, but doesn't matter. Just do your thing.
True.
Then you look at, okay, in this present moment, I'm creating the future. If I come from the past, which was my things I was letting go of, those tethers, then I'm going to keep creating from the past. A lot of people keep saying, oh, well, I'm not really good at creating this, or I'm not really good at this. I'm like, hang on, start saying, I'm getting better at making more money. I'm getting better at this. Because in this moment, I am a powerful creator, and we need to move into the future and then feel the emotions of that new end result that you want now. Feel that thing in the future right now, here in your heart, and be like, whatever, if it's making more money, if I want $10,000, okay, $10,000, how do you feel in that future state with that money? What you're doing with it, enjoying it, all that, but feeling it now. So you're starting to recode yourself from what you let go to the new identity and the new end results you want. I hope that's helpful. That's a simplified version of what I do.
That's beautifully articulated, right? And I love how you say too, you have to fill it with something, right? If you're pulling out this thing that you need to let go of, it's putting in that next thing. And again, I love how you attached it to identity, right? Because it's like, as you step into this next version, you will have to become a different person. Like something I was just hearing the other day that really clicked for me, is it was like, if you want to get to this next level that you're going for, you literally have to re-engineer yourself, right? You have to re-engineer yourself with different programs, with different patterns, with different emotions, right? And it's like that re-engineered self is going to get you to that place. And I love the layout you've given. It's like the perfect way to do that.
And if you don't choose it as the creator, then either someone else will, or you'll just get reprogrammed again by, I'll just call it the matrix, by as life comes. So there's, and just along with what you just said there, I want you to look at the word reaction in your head. Just imagine reaction. If you're putting up your reaction, what happens when you move the C? What word does it become? It's creation.
Oh,
right? Reaction. You have, creation, reaction. You're either reacting or creating. I want people to understand that they're the creator. No matter what your religious background is or whatnot, like seeing yourself as the creator that you truly are. And as human beings, we forgot this. We're not taught this. That's okay. It's not our fault. It's just stepping into, oh, I'm creating this new identity. I get to choose who I'm going to be tomorrow. I don't just, people can be reactive to it and they can allow themselves to just be this flowing into existence person. Fine. That's their choice. Right. Surrender Experiments is a great book, and it's an amazing state to be when you've cleared the stuff out. Yeah. But creation, you're either reacting or creating. So start creating and be in that creative, like, oh, I'm creating the new identity. I'm not discovering it or finding my purpose or searching for my purpose. Create it. Yeah. Don't sit there and feel like it's coming to you. Downloads can happen from the universe, from superconscious when you're clear and you're a cleansed vessel and you're ready for that. Wonderful. But you've got to really be creating that next step, creating that, filling that void with what you choose to put in there. Yeah. I love it. So perfect kind of just segue. So one of the things you and I spoke about the last time we spoke was this idea of like hypnotizing yourself for success. And I think I'd mentioned to you, I have a friend that is now married to Rob Dyrdek. And one of the things in his story he talks about a lot is he's like, at some point when I was sort of, like getting up there, he's like, I went to a hypnotist and I literally had them hypnotize me for success. Which is an interesting concept and idea. And obviously you do a lot, with hypnotherapy. And I would be curious, and, again, I'm sure this could be
10 sessions someone dives through this with you. So I'm testing you to simplify things today. But how would you say someone can start to hypnotize themselves for success? Because I think, and again, you do a lot of this with the people you work with, but it's like people get into this self-sabotage, right? They take 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards. It's like you get there and all of a sudden something happens and you start to pull away, and you're almost like you're self-sabotaging yourself. So how does someone start to hypnotize themselves for success? So if they are moving up in their life, it's like you're flowing in that you're not going through this constant 2 forward, 3 back. Yeah.
Great question. And there's a few different angles to take with that question. And when it comes to true deep change, doing self-hypnosis is like, it's so hard because you're in here and you can't see what you can't see. So I just want to reframe the question a little bit.
Okay.
So what I think you're really asking is, what can people do going internal instead of external? First of all, like not worrying about external, but going inside, and then being able to work with their mind and their heart and to create change in their life. Now you can go get apps. There's a great one called Primed Mind. It's amazing. primedmind.com or Primed Mind app. You can find on the App Store and all that. Incredible apps. Like I still do use this every single day, from 5 minutes to even 30 minutes, from sleep to all the different categories in your life, getting ready to speak on stage, getting ready for your day, starting your business day, starting a business, getting creative. Like self-hypnosis starts with just kind of getting guided to going from the active beta to closing your eyes, putting on headphones, noise canceling, or like earplugs, going in a dark room, putting on the eye mask, sitting or lying down, whatever it is, and like just practicing going inward. And I'm talking, I like to do like about 2 hours a day of just like stillness. But in the beginning, having somebody walk you through it is great. Like the audios, not meditation, hypnotherapy, like specifically getting you down to an altered state, to a theta state as quickly as you can. And practicing that every day. The more that you go internal during their day, the better this becomes. So that state of self-hypnosis is simply you carving out the time in your day to consistently, that's the key. I don't care if it's 10 or 15 minutes, doing it every day in a row starts to get better and better. The more time you spend internal with the eyes closed and pushing out the outside world, the external world, that is the best self-hypnosis, is going internal. And also moving you're shifting your focus from here and taking the elevator down to your heart. Literally sinking your conscious awareness right here to where it's almost like your view is looking out of your chest. Moving down to that state, having the breathing and being quietness, harder to do than it sounds. But the consistency, the payoff is incredible. And I'll tell you what I think I just told you what I did in Sedona, where we were in the BioCybernaut for 7 days, 6 to 7 hours a day, hooked up to machine, where I'm meditating, but working on my alpha wave. So I'm hooked up to machinery, have a screen in front of me, speakers giving me biofeedback to my literally every thought. And I'm in there, and it's some of the most challenging, hardest work. But after 7 days straight, no work, no phone, just straight up meditation and quietness in a dark room, you start to say, oh, that world in there, way more exciting than out here, because I'm creating it in here. And you start to like drop into your heart, drop into your soul, connect yourself. It's like nothing. It's so incredible. It's like data-driven hypnotherapy, like what I do, but like there's data at the end of the day. I could see, oh, when I did this, it went up. When I did this, it went down. Ooh, now when I close my eyes, I tap right into alpha and I feel it. And so that's the self-hypnosis. It's just going internal, quieting your mind, getting into your chest, into your heart, and starting there. That's like the first kind of easy version.
And Primed Mind, that's an app where people can go and start to do some of this hypnotherapy. And it's like,
exactly. Yeah. It's straight up
beautiful. Legit
is Elliot Rowe, my dear friend, great mentor, my mentor for hypnotherapy. He's absolutely incredible. He's built this over. It's been a number of years. I have a brand new version coming out, but it's my go-to. I just absolutely love it for that kind of stuff. So that's the tool that you can go. I think there's like a free trial. You have it for free for a while. It's awesome. So I'd start there.
Cool. All right. I will be downloading it. And for every one of our listeners, 100% recommend it as well. So to kind of change it up a little bit before we wrap up, one thing I would love to hear from you is, you, at least from the outside looking into your life, I would say, become a master of designing a life around the lifestyle that you want to live. I know for a portion of your life, you were, sort of nomading, right? Where you would travel and work and have just this beautiful life that you designed with your wife now. And at the time, I think it was your, girlfriend and fiance when you started doing some of that stuff. And I'm curious, like, what do you think is the importance of designing a life, like your career, around your lifestyle? And how can people maybe start to take a few steps in that direction?
Oh, great. I love this question. And it's actually like designing the lifestyle first, then letting work follow. So once you're clear on designing the lifestyle that you desire, that can dictate and help you bring in different data points to attract the business or job that is the career or business that can serve you. The reason I say that is everybody's had a huge paradigm shift with COVID.
For sure.
Many people who thought working at home was sloughing off and not real, they're like, oh, remote work is real. I can be anywhere. Back in the day, we've been doing remote work for years, 15, 20 years. And I would be in Spain on a beach working, being on the same calls as my clients in the US. And they're going to call like, oh, I thought we were going to have the call. You're on vacation. I'm like, I'm not on vacation. Did I say I was on vacation? I'm sitting on a beach working, and you're in your office, and that might be weird, but like, I'm here, I'm on the call. We're still got our stuff done.
Yeah.
So people have paradigm shifts.
So cool.
So now it's even more important to think, here's the question. What would I love to create? What would I love to create in my life? Thinking about the identity, thinking about those new end results for my life first, and then move on to the work side. Because if you get your life thing done, if you're a person like, I love my sleep, and by the way, get your sleep. Yes, 6-7 hours, get your sleep. And you want to be able to travel a lot and not be held down to, oh, I only have 2 weeks of vacation. And I only want, I can only go so many places. I have to be here, but that sucks. That's not what you want. Then no matter what job you get, you might be excited about the job, but ultimately that's not the lifestyle you want.
Right.
There's so many opportunities out there to work online and then be anywhere you want to be with the technology. So much you can get done from these and iPads and stuff. So then it opens up, oh, well, how can I attract the job or the business that allows me to then plug that into my lifestyle? Because if I got my lifestyle set up first, then the rest can flow in. And I think people put work and career first too much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful way. And I think a beautiful writing exercise too, to sit down and say, what's the lifestyle I want? Cause I think, sometimes we can just put our own program on that, right? Where it's like, well, why would I write the lifestyle I want? Like that's not possible. But if you sit down and say, what is that lifestyle, especially with COVID, like you said, it really is extremely attainable.
Yeah. What lifestyle would I love to create? But the program, the society says, go get a job, go get your money first, go get doing this. And that's okay. But it's all you're doing is taking a few steps first to ensure that what you're creating in your life, you're going to be happy with down the road. Not doing this one thing for money, for transactional value, for like, just because. I mean, a lot of people start realizing, why am I even in this career? They forget literally why they did it, because they didn't choose it. The society, the programs, the structure chose it for them. So being very clear, Steve Jobs has a great quote, which is like, do what you love, the money will follow, all that will take care of itself. But don't get into something because of money, and don't get into anything because, I know people have dire situations and there's very unique, extreme conditions. I get that. Yeah. And when you do have a little bit of a breath and a room, and even if you're in those places, you need to be thinking, I'm getting out of this. Will Smith has amazing videos online about thinking about how his life was going to be when they were poor, when they had nothing. Going and learning from other people. There's a lot of people that had really terrible lives that have built massive fortunes and beautiful lives because they were very, very smart about how they thought every single thought.
Yeah. I love it. Well, AJ, we could be here for all day. You have such a wealth of knowledge, and you're extremely humble. I'm beyond grateful that you have taken time out to be here with us today. I'm curious if people want to get more of AJ, see what you're up to, dive more into your world. Just where's the best place for our listener to go find you and hang out with you?
Yeah, they can, by this time, it maybe comes out, my new site will maybe be up, but ajyager.com, AJYAGER.com. That's how you can book me, learn more about me, go to my social medias, or at AJ Yager. is I think my handle for all of them. So at AJYAGER.
Cool.
I'm on social. Hit me up. I love to answer questions. I'm here. I'm super transparent, open book. Always love to help.
Love it. And we'll put all that in the show notes so it's super easy for everybody to get access to. Last question I have for you, and it's a question we ask to all of our guests because we want to help people find direction, but do it through action, is what would you say is one thing our listener right now could do in the next 24 to 48 hours to start finding direction in their life?
I'm going to go back to repeat what I said. Ask the question, what do I need to let go of? What are when go right down that list. This is something you can easily do in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. Start asking, if I could snap my fingers and magic or rub a genie bottle, it would be gone and out of my system completely out. Thinking of the hot air balloon, write down the list of the things you want to choose to let go, and then commit to letting go of those things one by one each day.
Beautiful.
I think it's going to be the biggest help.
Heck yeah. Well,
Great
AJ,
question.
Thank you again so much for being here, man. Always appreciate it. And again, thank you so much.
I loved it. That was so much fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.